Hello there, everyone. Just wanted to say hi, and as of recording, it is about 9:30 at night, and I wanted to make this as a kind of update. You're probably noticing if you're just, I don't know, exclusively a YouTube watcher, though considering my demographics, I doubt, most of you are just exclusively YouTube watchers. You probably, have either read something I've written and you stumbled across this channel, or you know me from my Substack. If you do, you will know that about 2 months after being received into the Orthodox Church, my entire life has fallen apart. Or if you just keep up with this YouTube channel and you're kind of weird like me, you will probably know that I started the Wretched Psalter series at the beginning of the summer, and I had a goal to keep recording. Due to the makeup of this, last 2 months, I have not been able to do that. However, as both something I really need personally right now, and as an apology and a love letter to you guys, my dear audience, I would like to read the entirety of the book of Ecclesiastes. Before we even get started with that, I just want to say a few things. First and foremost, if you haven't followed me on my Substack, you get a lot of my, angry, my ramblings and stuff over there in a lot more of a congested and substantive format. If you're just here for the rambling logs, if you're just here for the oratories and the Wretched Psalter, I have some great news for you, and that is that hopefully I will be getting 2 more oratories recorded if I can actually figure out the basics on how I want to record them. The 2 oratories I actually want to do are the monologue from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and a possible re-recording of John Brown's speech before he was executed. This could change, but those are the 2 that I have on my list. The last thing I wanted to mention was the fact that the Wretched Psalter series is still in kind of here. Most of my I have a physical copy you can buy on Amazon, but I also have a free digital copy that I will link in the description. Not only will I link that in the description, but it's also on my Twitter. And if you like the substance of a lot of the stuff that I do, feel free to check up there. With that, I'd just like to start with something in particular, just some background context. This is what I'm about to read is the book of Ecclesiastes out of the Bible. Now, most people, when they think of the book of Ecclesiastes, are thinking one of 2 things. They're either thinking, oh, that one book in the Old Testament that's extremely depressing and is kind of a boring read, or the second type, and perhaps probably the worst way you can go with this, is the fact that it's kind of a nihilistic book, or it's a nihilistic book, or it's like a book that doesn't matter. And I think all 3 of those are grave errors. If you guys know anything about my Substack or the things that I talk about on my rambling logs and the sentiments that I express therein, you guys know that I have an extreme love and passion for the poor. My patron saint is Saint Lawrence of Rome, and I'm very, very passionate about the marginalized, even as an Orthodox Christian. And my goal as an Orthodox Christian is to bring people like that into communion with Christ. And I know that I can only really do that in a few ways, but if it's 1, if it's 1 billion, let it be so, I have no qualms with that. The book of Ecclesiastes, for some historical context, was written in the year roughly 970. It would be 970 to 930 BC. Quite comically, it comes right after the book of Proverbs, and very much right after and sentiment-wise, is very much right after Song of Solomon. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it is traditionally seen as Solomon wrote the entire book. However, most people have pointed out that, yes, Solomon is absolutely the one speaking for most of it, but there is an author writing at the beginning and there is an author writing at the end. This would probably be either a member of Solomon's court or somebody closely related to Solomon or somebody who's cataloging this teaching afterwards. We don't really know this information, and there's only a few things we can empirically prove with that information, but it's relatively well known that this is the case. Some things that you might find interesting about this is throughout the entire book. You will notice that a lot of the themes are extremely, extremely depressing. If you do not need this, if you're not in the proper headspace, I wouldn't recommend picking up this book. However, especially if you're somebody who lives in, like, you have a very busy life, or maybe you're very caught up or very angry, in some kind. If you have anything other than a peaceful life, please read this book. And it hits just right with candles and an icon corner, and if you're feeling pretty bad. And to be quite honest, that's kind of why I'm making this video. And with that, about 6 minutes and 42 minutes in, I'm going to begin orating the book of Ecclesiastes. To be honest, there's not really a lot of ways I think I can do this book justice. I love this book. It's a big inspiration for a lot of my poetry. And it's also one that I have referenced several times in my Substacks and poetry and like my other short stories as well. And with that, I hope you guys enjoy this. Oratory of Ecclesiastes. Let's see here. Chapter 1. The words of the preacher to the son of David, king of Jerusalem in Jerusalem. The vanity of life.